Welcome back to Nana's Kitchen, Dad Takeover. Today we are going to make chicken soup. Alright, so what we have today is homemade chicken soup. We just made a roasted chicken and enjoyed that. And usually after we roast the chicken, we make soup. Our ingredients today for making soup, we have, first of all, the carcass, vegetables, thyme, chicken. This is what is going to be creating our stock. And then that's the first step. We will season that also with salt, pepper, and a small amount of garlic. I don't want it to be garlic soup, but just enough as a little backstory. Now that we have our stock completed, we will take the next step and fulfill the rest of the soup by adding patina, also a lot of vegetables that we have here, just classic onion, carrot, and celery. You can add whatever vegetables you may like. You should use fresh, obviously. And I like to cut them small because the liquid does tend to be absorbed within the vegetables and makes them bigger, so I use a fine chop on those when I cut them up. Same situation with the patina, since it is a smaller type pasta. Again, it will soak up quite a bit of the liquid. If you use a larger pasta, you can tend to get some really abnormally large sized pasta in your soup, which can be odd to eat. So we figured that out over time. We will also add some chicken broth to our stock. Just makes it a little more flavorful. And we don't have like 9 hours to cook stock. We're going to do a short version of stock. So we'll add that to bolster our situation. Okay, so first step in making the stock, you got to put all your stuff in there and boil it up. So what we'll do is we have this carcass, lots of bones, some meat on there, some skin. I don't like using a ton of skin just because it tends to be too fatty, and it's a little much. I like to use the wings in there though. That's good stuff. And then the old carcass, and then I had stuffed this earlier with herbs and an onion, so I'll just put that in as is, and that's kind of the base. Beyond that, put in some vegetables. These are some ends of celery and some extra carrots we have lying around, and that was kind of the stuff that we had used to make the other smaller carrots, but I got enough, and these are getting close to done, so let's use them. We got our onion, very important. Get all that good stuff in there, and I've got some extra thyme, so we'll throw that in there. I've got quite a bit, so I don't think I'm going to use all of it, but most of it. A little bit of garlic. Again, you really don't need to use that much minced garlic. If you want to use like a clove or two and just throw them in there, it might actually even be a little bit better. Because the smaller surface area on the minced garlic gives it a lot of flavor, so you don't want to go too nuts with that. So now that we have that, let's throw in some salt and pepper. It's about building some layers. You kind of want to season everything along the way. We have all of our ingredients in our pot for the stock. You can see that this is, going to be a straining type situation where we're going to put liquid in, and these flavors are just going to transfer into the liquid. That's what we're looking for. So what we'll do now is we'll just take water and we'll fill it up. Kind of go like not super high, but probably just high enough to fill the ingredients that are in here. Because as this boils, you don't want it to overboil, so you definitely want to be a solid 3 to 4 inches below the top, because this is going to boil for a couple hours and you don't want it boiling over. Alright, so now we're moving over to the stove. We'll put this over here, fire it up on our highest burner. and we'll let that go. So we're back. We've had the stock cooking now for at least an hour. You can do it longer. I mean, if you want to do like a true stock, you can go like 8 hours and just go nuts. Again, we're going to be balancing it out with some actual chicken broth here to add to the flavor. We didn't have 8 hours to do it, but maybe next time. Either way, so the stock's about done. We are now going to season our chicken, which was left over. And we'll do that with just some regular kosher salt, a little bit like that, and a little bit of pepper. And we're just trying to, build up, layers of flavor here. So we'll do that. And some people don't do the veggies. I do the veggies too. So here we go. A little bit of salt, and you don't have to overdo it because, listen, there's a lot of salt and pepper going on all over the place. So it's just a little bit, and then, we're going to put that right in. All right, so now at this point, we are going to drain the good stuff out of the pot, and what will be left will just be the broth. So I've got one, let's get this one too, because this is hot, so be careful, go slow, a lot of liquid will come out. I'm just going to bring this over to the sink, and I will dispose of it later. Hopefully I didn't make too much of a mess there. And then if you come over here, you can actually see how the broth has cooked. You can see there's lots of good stuff going on in there. Alright, so now we have drained out and we are left with our broth. And now it's time to add the goodies that will go into the broth and make the chicken soup. We're going to start with the chicken that we seasoned before and the vegetables, which we seasoned. And then we'll let those go a little bit, get tender, and then we will finish it off with the patina. Vegetables and chicken. We brought it to a boil, and now we'll skim some fat. You can see some of the stuff that comes up, like this frothy kind of stuff. You can get rid of that. It's like if you have too much of that, and we're going to be eating this for a week probably. When you put it away, and if you don't skim the fat, then it kind of gets like a gross top to it. So we want to prevent. So we've got our stock down, and now we have our veggies in and our chicken in, coming to a boil. So I think we're going to add a little bit of the chicken broth just to get a little more volume in here, because we're going to put in the patina behind that, and that's going to soak up a lot of liquid, and we want to not have stew but soup. Okay, the soup is at a boil since we've added the broth. And the final step here is to add the pasta of your choice. Again, we like the patina. So we're gonna take a whole thing and just dump it in there. The pastina cooks quickly, so about 4 to 6 minutes. I would go on the low end because, again, the pastina will soak up liquid and you're going to be reheating it at some point. So 4 minutes seems good. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your soup.